From the moment we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden and Kamala, I call her Laughing Kamala. You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy. You know, you can tell a lot by her laugh. No, she's crazy. She's nuts. She's not as crazy as Nancy Pelosi, crazy Nancy. But no, she's crazy as a bedbug. She's a crazy person.
This is the look of a man who is potentially staring down defeat.
She's certainly better than Joe Biden. I don't believe she'd be better than Michelle Obama, but that ain't an option. And so that makes her the best we've got. And when you consider her prosecutor's background, when you consider her intellect, when you consider how feisty she can be, when you consider how she could pick Donald Trump apart in terms of the lies that he may tell. And she's younger by over 21, 22 years to Joe Biden. And she's been aching for this opportunity. And she's considered an individual that's been muzzled. I'd say that makes her a pretty damn good candidate.
In turn, Stephen A. Smith is about to lay into Donald Trump and the Republicans.
Every state has its own system, and in some of these, it's not possible to simply just switch out a candidate who has been chosen through the Democratic, small d Democratic process over such a long period of time. 14 million Democrats voted to make Joe Biden the nominee. So it would be wrong and I think unlawful in accordance to some of these states' rules for a handful of people to go in a back room and switch it out because they don't like the candidate any longer. That's not how this is supposed to work. So I think they would run into some legal impediments in at least a few of these jurisdictions.
On Mike Johnson and others threatening legal action?
Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are running scared. And Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, he's running scared too. What's up with all of this stuff about how legal action may be taken because Biden decided to drop out of the race? Wait a minute. When he took the presidency, initially he alluded to himself being a one-term president, that he was going to be a stopgap to pave the way for a younger generation. He's under no obligation to run for re-election. And the donors who contributed to the Democratic Party, it was to Biden and Harris, not just Biden. So what's the problem with her running now?
Smith believes that they are, quote, running scared, which could be a very fair point.
The Heritage Foundation, which is the parent of the Project 2025 memo that has gone out describing what a future Trump administration would look like. The Heritage Foundation has already threatened lawsuits in 3 states, swing states, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Nevada. And they point to the laws in those states, which says that the nominee shall not be replaced unless there is a death. And there are those kinds of restrictions. The problem with them, election lawyers almost unanimously say, because anybody can bring a lawsuit, but people who work in this area say, obviously, Joe Biden is not the nominee until he's officially nominated.
The Heritage Foundation, along with other cohorts in right-wing circles, including former President Trump, are ticked at the move and continue pondering legislation, though it is a tall task.
Donald Trump, I know you ain't trying to engage in, dare I say, lawfare, are you? I know you're not trying to do that. Wasn't it you that was on stage saying that the Democrats were engaging in lawfare because they weren't confident they could beat you straight up in an election? Kamala Harris ain't bringing up insurrection. She ain't bringing up the votes in Georgia. She might bring it up to make an argument against you from a character standpoint. She might bring up the 34 felony convictions, but her objective and what she tweeted out, she's saying, yo, Donald Trump, I'm gonna beat you. I can beat you. Ain't that what you wanted?
Thus, Smith rightfully calls it out.
Now, Mr. Trump sounded not at all surprised by this decision, and he has continued to attack both Biden and Vice President Harris on social media through the early morning hours this morning. On Truth Social, he just accused Democrats of stealing the race from Biden after Biden won the primaries, calling them, Democrats, the real threat to democracy.
A laughable notion from the man who said he would be a dictator.
That's why the crowd was cheering for Joe Biden. You know, there was some slippage. He was an easy opponent. You're confirming it's got a little bit tougher now, haven't you? Just asking. Just ask.
There would also be more crying from the GOP and their nominee, with Donald Trump writing on Truth Social of Joe Biden dropping out. Now we have to start all over again. Shouldn't the Republican Party be reimbursed for fraud in that everybody around Joe, including his doctors and the fake news media, knew he was not capable of running or being president? Just asking.
You're entitled to your feelings. You're entitled to express your thoughts. Just don't go the legal route. Because by going that route, you're engaging in lawfare. And according to you, that's what the Dems were doing because they couldn't beat you fair and square in an election. Let's find out. Let's find out. Straight up, you against her. Getting a little scared now? I'm just asking. I don't know. But bringing up all of this legal stuff with Mike Jackson and Mike Johnson, and J.D. Vance, it sounds scared. Y'all sound scared. What y'all doing being scared of Kamala Harris for? What's up with that? Scared of the ladies now? You scared of the vice president, huh?
All right, before we get into it, if you can, please do become a channel member at youtube.com/TYT Sports. Just click the join button, or if you just want to join the network as a member, go to tyt.com/join. In addition, please follow me on my socials, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We're fair, and even if there are many who despise him, Stephen A. Smith is right. He's right. Republicans were ready to take on current President Joe Biden. They wanted to take on President Joe Biden. And I think there was a moment where they revealed their hand, which was Donald Trump, Trump Jr., many in the MAGA orbit, basically said that they don't think Biden should drop out. They didn't want Biden to drop out. Why? Because it's an easier opponent. Much easier. I mean, look at the amount of donations that came in for Madam Vice President Kamala Harris after Biden stepped down and endorsed her. They are scared. They are. And this whole thing of, look, it's politics, but they're saying, oh, well, we don't know when a debate could happen because we thought that J.D. Vance was going to debate Kamala Harris, and now we don't know who he's going to debate, blah, blah, blah. They won't even potentially commit to it. They will in the end because they saw what happened with Jon Ossoff when he debated David Perdue a la an empty podium, which was completely embarrassing. I have no idea what the Perdue camp were thinking. Honestly, they thought they had it in the bag. That's probably what happened. So what I would point to is Stephen A. is accurate because we've only seen these authentic, real reactions to the meltdowns that the Republican Party is having, knowing that it's not a shoo-in anymore and they have a fight on their hands. So I am very curious to see what other lines of attack they decide to go with, aside from the Heritage Foundation, who is basically threatening to put forth litigation, which we just showed will not happen, aside from the DEI attacks, aside from that podcaster Alec Lace basically equating Kamala Harris to a Huck to a girl. Disgusting. Brian Kilmeade allegedly saying colored sorority. I am really curious to see what other attacks they have because so far it stunk.